Hello everybody. Today we're going to see how I draw Disco Brawl. Okay, pencils first and then Sharpies. So if you don't want to watch the pencil portion of the video where I sketch the entire thing out, look in the description and you'll see a link that you can click on that will take you to the Sharpie portion of the video. I'll even include one for color. So for those of you that are going to stick around, I'm going to start off with a quick sketch for myself and then I'll ink or I'll Sharpie. Okay, and so I think we're going to use a ruler too, a straight edge for the handle. And you can go grab one or you can do it by hand if you like, but I think I want to do that. I think I want to use a ruler. You know what's funny? I'm going to use a ruler for that, but I'm not going to use a stencil for the ball. You would think that being a stickler, I would want to, you know, do them both correctly, but apparently I don't. So that's how it goes around here. We got a saying around here. Doesn't mean I'm going to tell you what it is. We got a saying around here. Okay, so I'm just trying to come up with some lines to draw, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of jiggity jagged them. I'm not going to draw every single one exactly, but I'm going to do most of them. Well, no, I'm going to do a lot of them for the most part, but some of them I'm going to leave like open for like a lens flare, and I don't want the black to be over it. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So that's it. That's all we got to do for that. I'm going to jump to the Sharpie section now. So let's welcome all the people that skipped, even though it was like a minute ago, not that long. Welcome, skippers. I'm glad to see you here. I'm going to be using a Sharpie fine point and a Sharpie pen. Mostly the Sharpie pen, but every now and then the fine point, probably for the detail to make it look nice and pretty. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I talked about this in the sketch. I'm going to use a straight edge for the handle too, so you might want to go grab one of those. Or do it by hand. It's totally up to you. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. Okay, so for the ball, I'm not gonna draw it perfectly, so I've got it sketched out. So I'm gonna kind of play around with the squares on a circle. So because of that, I don't have to draw everything perfectly. I can kind of get away with it's a little jagged, because that's how squares are going to be on a ball once they start to turn around. It's not going to be curved. It's, you know, like that. So I'm going to take advantage of that and kind of play around with that. Okay. So that means this doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to play around with how it broke through here too. And draw it like this. Okay, and this will make sense in a second. I'm just gonna come back around here and do that. Okay, so I've got that part done. I'll tell you what, let's do the handle. Let's do all this, then I'll come back and do all this with the Sharpie fine point and make it real nice and pretty. Okay, so now that means I'm just gonna use this to come down and draw that arm, part of the arm. And then do the other one over here, and I'm eyeballing that it's parallel. I'm not too worried about if it is or not. This is how I draw. I draw how I draw. You draw how you draw. We'll meet somewhere in between. So here for the handle, I am going to draw some of the lights just to make sure I don't accidentally cut them off when I draw the circle here. And I'm already off. I can already see it. So I'm not too worried about it. So remember that when you're doing this, it's okay if it's not a perfect circle. See, mine's not. Mine's all droopy McDroop pants. So I wouldn't worry about it. There we go. Okay. So now for the finer detail. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just play around with the lines. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do these lines like this, and that'll kind of determine how everything else is going to be. Okay. I should have curved it, like I forgot to curve it there like I'm doing there, but that's okay. No big deal. This is how I draw, and this is what I draw. Okay, and so I'm kind of guessing at my my width now, because in my sketch I just kind of drew lines going across just so I could get an idea. And now I'm just trying to mirror or match the line width going across there. And see how I'm not too worried about it? How, you know, it's okay if it's not straight across, if it's not perfect, you know, that's perfectly fine. And so also, so this is what I was talking about, how I was going to explain it, that I'm also just not too concerned about where I'm going. I'm just kind of playing around with the idea. Okay. Well, I mean, I am concerned about where I'm going. I'm going from here to there. So I gotta eyeball that and figure out what I'm doing. So, but see how I'm just making it up? It's no big deal. I'm not too worried about it, you know? This is just to have fun. I'm just using my sketch as a rough guideline to get us to where we were gonna go. All right, so now I'm not gonna draw all the lines perfectly. I'm just gonna start drawing. I'm gonna start here and just do something like this. I'm gonna work my way like this. You see what I'm saying? I'm just kind of playing around with the squares and where they play or they lay on the disco ball. And that's okay if they're not perfect. It's okay if they're not lining up against each other. Once we start adding some color, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the open space that I was talking about for the glare. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's see if I can make this work. I'm gonna choose to do it right here, okay? And what I mean by that is I'm just gonna kind of do this just to kind of give myself some space of where I want to do that. So there, that line's gonna show, but I'm gonna do some white right there to show like a glare, okay? So that being said, I'm just gonna play around with, like I was talking about, just making squares and then kind of angling them just a little bit towards the edge. And it's okay if they're not the same size all the way around, because again, this is what we want to do. We're just having some fun. And I'm going to throw a couple of them off just to, you know, just to mix it up, because that's kind of also the cool thing about this one is that it's beat up. You know, some of the pieces are thrown off. So I can kind of make it look all jiggity jaggedy, a little jaunty, a little worse for wear, I guess is the phrase that people have coined. That's another weird phrase too. Have coined. You coined a phrase. What does that mean? He's like paid money for it. Was it a quarter? What coin exactly did you use for this? And I need my coins back. That's laundry day. Okay, and so I know this is a little tedious, but I'm just having some fun, just meditating, drawing some lines, going my place with it, saying, "Hey, how's it going, Disco Brawl? Feeling disco-y, discotheque-y, discotheque-y?" Okay. And so I'm just gonna draw another one like that. You can see how it's just kind of breaking out. And so I'm getting kind of big, so I'm gonna kind of wrangle them in a little bit. I'm realizing that I was telling you, it's like, it doesn't matter the size. And then I started going like super big. I'm gonna try to get that back together to start to get smaller towards the end here. And remember, there's no right or wrong. It's just us just making lines. So don't worry if you didn't do it exactly like mine. If yours is, you know, pasted different amount of lines. Like I always say, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. We're gonna meet somewhere in between. So don't worry if you're not drawing every single line like I am. Don't count how many I'm doing. Don't stress. You know. That's also what this is supposed to be. Very soothing, very meditative, very Bob Ross. You know about Bob Ross? Great guy. Awesome painter. Makes it look so easy. And it is. You just got to practice like him. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Don't know what we're going to do, how we're going to celebrate. I'm going to have some cake, maybe some punch and pie. All right, there's the end of that. So I think what we're going to do too is the handle. Look at my picture again. Yeah, so for the handle, we're just going to kind of do the same thing. Just kind of draw some lines across. That's all we can really do. It curve around, but since we're looking at a side view of it, it's kind of hard to see a curve. So I'll just kind of play around with it. Okay, and so I'm going to draw some lines like it's squares. It's kind of hard to do to make it stand out because they're not all, in the same place. And I'm skipping every now and then because you got to think of where it's going to be, just kind of playing around with the distance and the shape. All right, there you go, and that's it. We're done. We're done. We're not going to do any more. We're going to take care of the rest with color. So that is Disco Brawl. So here is my colored version. You could do it however you like. I just thought I'd show you how I decided to color it. If you'd like to color it like this, you can always pause the video here and use the coloring techniques that I used, or you can just make it your own. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more adventures of how I draw. Plus, don't forget to hit that notification button to be updated about each new video.